I think it's just something that we actually don't talk about enough. Outages on the internet. In this case, Starlink suffers its first big breakdown with 3 hours of global blackout on its service. Um, you know, I think Starlink as a brand power is pretty robust. I think we kind of just expect it to work, especially with the price and the subscription model. But it's like any other internet connectivity device, and especially one that, what is it, 300 satellites circling the globe.
3,000, Mike.
3,000. Okay, so yeah, and they're all running the same software apparently. And the estimation here is that the lights went out from an update. There's also, I think, something that we're just going to be seeing more of in all of these kind of global tech articles is concerns about Russia and China attacking these things because geopolitics are not what they were 5 years ago, at the very least. Which kind of saddens me a little bit because it's getting into Kremlinology. We don't know why this service went down, but PC Mag, of all of the pedestrian computer magazines or publications online, used to be a magazine, is okay, kind of even hinting at that. So that I also think was a big change, and it's actually a reasonable concern if we're being honest. So, who wants to go
Well,
first on
and I was going to
thoughts?
say, Mike, yeah, I can make this controversial for you. So,
Okay, go for
um,
it.
yeah, so look, they bring this up because Musk warned that the Russian government has actually threatened, been trying to jam and hack Starlink. Why are they doing that? Because Musk gave Starlink to the Ukrainians.
hmm
So, we talked about this before, this idea of dual use technology. Once you kind of hand that over in such a public way to be used in support of a war effort, right, for combat forces, you've now put your system at risk. And General Paz isn't here right now, but I feel like he would agree with me. You may have very well made that a legitimate military target
I would
because
agree with that. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So just because everybody in California, New York, Texas, the UK, and New Zealand are using it, also, you've put that at risk by giving it to the Ukrainians in such a public way and saying, "Hey, use this for free to fight back against the Russians." And so I don't think it is a far reach to say that this was hacked or attacked by the
Yeah, but
Russians.
there's an absence of evidence of that, so we don't know yet. But like what I'm kind of just
Well,
bringing up is that now we live in a world where you actually do have to consider that as one of the
you
possibilities.
absolutely have to consider, and I would love to hear Cam's thoughts on this because I know you've been very supportive of the Ukrainian war effort, and I think the risks sometimes, right, to commercial ventures that do that. I don't know that that's always transparent. I think this could be one example. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, super interesting. And so I'm on this island up in Canada right now, so I'm using Starlink. And it's a good service. We actually happen to, at some expense, able to have a cable system in here as well. So I've got dual systems, and the Starlink works pretty well. And such. So anyway, I'm a fan of it. And then when we're over in the Ukraine, of course, like literally that is the main communication system now for our drone operations and such. So I do agree 100% that he's opened it up as a target, right? And selfishly, I think about that because we're over there doing operations now. We're doing mine detection and humanitarian relief and a bunch of different things. But does that not open up us to being a target? And certainly, I know on our own cyber world within Dragonfly, we consciously really tighten things up, in case of those types of things, just because we've chosen to take a position on it. But I don't think taking a position, or standing up for what you think is right is necessarily a wrong thing. But the consequences of it is that it may affect your shareholders or your consumers or all the rest of it. Very new product. I mean, Starlink's incredibly new. And so even if it wasn't, you know, a cyber attack or, you know, something geopolitical, I don't, you know, like it's amazing that it's up there and it's operating as well as it does so quickly, and it's scaling at the pace that it's scaling. Really, a 3-hour outage?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like
It's nothing.
nobody's going to care about this in 3 weeks from now. Like nobody's going to give a rip unless it, you know, obviously it keeps happening. But I think that organization will iterate pretty quick and try to make sure that that kind of thing doesn't happen again. But it's going to happen because they're pushing the envelope, right? They're going to do things that, you know, that and build expectations that we want met, and in turn, you know, we want software upgrades, we want faster this, more of that, and you know, they're going to hit snags. So I'm not sure exactly why it happened, but I don't think it's going to make it. You know, if anything, it'll make them better and push the first service even further.
Well, isn't 99% uptime still 3 hours a year?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
or no, 3
Yeah,
days.
and the
That's
reality
3
is,
days.
you know, it's ridiculous. You know, we think it's ridiculous that it's not 99 point, you know, 555, you know, 999 type thing. You know,
Mhm.
so at some point they'll have to get there because there'll be more critical services on it. But
Yeah. Vidyut, any
Yeah,
ideas
I was
about?
just thinking about it. I think I only have one point, which is probably to do with the announcement of providing Starlink itself. And what that brings up is it's a bigger debate. It's just in my mind, more relative to the entire social media aspect of things, and saying something and then it's suddenly spreading, right? Like wildfire, combating that, and then suddenly everyone knows. And I think with tech, it just talks about responsible technology, or being responsible with technology or any format of technology all over. So in lieu of a war taking place, right, in the world, then and there's tech that can be used in that war in any manner. If of course that there have been countless examples of tech being given silently in support, and I think that's probably a much better way to do it than to turn around, and because tech can be your best friend and then suddenly it can be your worst enemy. You know, it has that degree of polarization and power in it to kind of do those things, and there have been countless examples of it. Um, I've not had the chance to use Starlink, so I wouldn't know much about, you know, the offering and how good it is, but I do believe in some of the amazingly disruptive and innovative sort of ideas that come out of there and that side. And I think it's good that we have someone who's doing that, because it's very needed. So from that point of view, I think it's great. I do also agree with the fact that no one's really going to care too much beyond the point on the 3 hour outage. It's similar to um, you know, it's an interesting parallel I'm drawing. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but it's an interesting parallel I'm drawing to the autopilot on Tesla, right? Like when that sort of became available, you had hackers going after it and wanting to kind of hack it and use it, and you're going to have many more instances of those things happening. Similarly, as happened with this Starlink thing, you're going to have multiple tries on satellites floating around the Earth, and phones, it's like a constant. I just don't think it should be announced ever. Like, I'm providing this to X, Y, and Z in support of or to use of. That's not the purpose. The purpose you're actually providing it is actually to support, not to show that you're providing support. I think that's the distinction.
Well, I think Don would argue, and add some clarity to this. Is yeah, it's in some cases you can't actually. Oh, we got a baby. um, in some cases you actually can't, right? You can't support without announcement, right,
Yeah.
Don?
Yeah, I think that's true. You know, I don't think I have a concern with him announcing it, that he was doing it. I think the ramifications of that sometimes aren't thought through. You
Right.
know, the fact that you've now in the law of war, you know, become, you know, a dual use technology that has also become a military target. Like, I don't know, Cam obviously has thought that through, and I love what Dragonfly is doing on the humanitarian basis in Ukraine, you know, helping to save lives. You know, I agree with you also, on the other hand, Vidget, that people that have with very good intentions provided, for example, drones, you know, that folks are using them to drop grenades from them and kill people, that perhaps they didn't really think about when they, you know, thought they were going to be used for mapping, as an example. So,
Sure.
you know, like you said, it could be, you know, technology is technology, and humans, when they get involved, they're going to do things with it, things that maybe you didn't anticipate. But really great. We got to close it up. I mean, again, I meant to make this controversial. I did. So that's
Thanks, Don.
so.